I'm here to continue with my lesson, and our very topic is writing using appropriate language, content, and style. Today we are going to focus on the second lesson, which is types of composition or essays. Types of composition or essays. Now, we are going to see the following types. We have narrative composition, we have expository composition, we have descriptive composition, argumentative composition, and creative writing or composition. But today, we are going to focus on the first part, which is narrative composition. First of all, narrate means give a spoken or written account of or tell a story. Simply, to narrate is to tell a story. As you can see, tell a story. And when we say narrative composition, is the composition that tells a story. If you are able to tell a story, remember the following things. When did it happen? What exactly happened? When did the event start? How did you know about the event? Did you witness? Were you told about the event? Were you involved in the event? How did the event end? So, this will be the organization of your story. This will include the following things from when did the story happen to the how did the event end. Now, in narrative composition, you should also be able to include the following. It may either be personal, historical, or fictional story. Personal stories focus on important events on author's life. So you have to focus on important events on author's life. So if you are able to write a story about your life, that will be counted as a personal story. The second part is historical stories. Historical stories capture a moment from the past and present it in a story format. Third, fictional stories use imagination and figurative language to produce a story. So remember, in writing narrative composition, you may include either a personal story, historical story, or fictional story. Where personal story you are going to deal with your personal life. Historical story you are going to deal with history of different events or past event and present it in a story format. But in fictional stories, you are going to use imagination and the figures of speech or figurative language. Now, for example, one may write a story and say, how Chief Mkwawa conquered German army. This will be counted as historical story. Or one may decide to write the dreams that came true. You can write any story of your choice saying a dream that came true. But you may also decide to write about unfulfilled promises, a day to remember, my first day at school, etc., etc. In order to write a good narrative composition, you should include the following elements. Now, the following are the basic elements for any narrative composition or essay. There are several basic elements that should be considered when writing a narrative composition. These include plot, characters, and setting. You should have three important things or elements: plot, characters, and the setting. Now, what is a plot? One may ask him or herself. Plot is just an organization of events in a story. So if you organize your story, the way you organize your events, the way you organize your information will be regarded as a plot. Most plots develop in 6 parts. We have exposition, we have conflict, we have rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. So those are 6 basic parts of any good plot. of a narrative composition or essay. What is exposition? Exposition is nothing but a background information about the character and setting. It gives background information about characters and setting. But second, we have conflict. Conflict is a point where misunderstanding between two parts begins. So when conflict or misunderstanding begin between two parts, this is regarded as a conflict. The third is rising action. Now, what is rising action? After the beginning of a conflict, the next stage is called rising action, where a conflict increases or develops than it was in a former stage. That is rising action, a portion of the story where the conflict increases. The next stage is climax. Climax is a very important part in a narrative as far as plot is concerned. It's the point of the highest interest. So, climax is the point of the highest interest, conflict or suspense in the story. It is a peak of action and conflict. The next stage or part is falling action. So after a conflict reaches to its peak, now it needs to fall down. And that part is called falling action. It's the part that shows what happens to the characters after the climax. Here the conflict decreases. Now it is a point where the conflict decreases and fall down. The last stage shows how the conflict is resolved. Now it is a point where the conflict is being resolved. It shows the outcome of the conflict. Now I'm going to give a display that is going to describe the above parts of stage.